So be careful when you're too laissez-faire, right? When you're too easygoing with things, because it'll nip you in the butt. So what does it look like when you're too laissez-faire? So laissez-faire, easygoing, let it happen, no worries, it's all good, right? You guys have heard those terms. We have one example that really reminded me of this. So we've got a situation where you've got the house and there's a landing and there's stairs. In code is, I believe, if there's more than 3 steps or it's more than like 32 inches, you need a handrail to make sure like you can hold a handrail when you go downstairs. And you walk out the door, you don't just fall off this little miniature deck. Appraiser calls it out on this house. What do you want? And then we closed. The lender's like, oh, we got that. We figured it out. It's cool. We don't need the railing to close. I'm like, okay, that's kind of bizarre. Like it was called out, but you're just closing without it, right? So when you close a transaction, you lose all of your leverage with the other side, right? If the buyer walks into the house the day before close and it is a complete disaster, the buyer says, I'm not closing until this is taken care of. We agreed that the house would be professionally cleaned, or we agreed that the fridge would be here and the fridge is gone, or the washer and dryer, or whatever, right? We had an agreement. And if I choose to close, which is like to consummate the deal with the property in a condition that is not agreeable to me, the seller, before closing, the seller has maybe 400, 500,000 reasons to make you happy, right? They're waiting to get their money. But the second they get their money, the house is now yours. What motivation would the old owner, the seller, have to make you happy at that point? None. So now we got a situation where the lender, in their stupidity, being too laissez-faire or too easygoing, has created a real situation here, because the buyers are like, okay, we need stairs, but it's their house now. So they should have a say in what the railing looks like on their stairs. And there's an expectation the seller does something, but the seller never agreed to do anything. And the lender's saying, I can't sell the loan, and somehow it's my problem. Most lenders don't keep loans, they're just brokers. So the way that works is they have their pile of money, right? Say they got like 30 million, and then they issue a loan for, say, $1 million, right? Then they sell that loan to the secondary market. So that's Federal National Mortgage Association, that's Fannie Mae, Federal Home Loan Mortgage Company, Freddie Mac, Penny Mac, Ginnie Mae. So this is the secondary market, and they get their money back. And then they make a new loan. They charge origination here, and then they get paid to sell it. So lenders make money twice. Lenders make more money on a house than real estate agents do, because they made it here. They charge 1, 1.5, 2 points to originate the loan, and they sell it for a profit over here. So now all of a sudden it's my problem that this lender was too easygoing. So I was like, man, all right. There was like some chatter about this railing situation, and the seller's like, all right, man, just let me know what I need to do. Let me know. I'm like, hey man, we closed. He's like, no railing? I'm like, I guess not. We closed. Like, sayonara. So be careful when you're too laissez-faire, right? When you're too easygoing with things, because it'll nip you in the butt later. It really can. Same goes when you're repping a buyer. When you're repping a seller, you have to understand how it works. So in the beginning of the transaction, the buyer has the least amount of leverage. The buyer's leverage goes up until closing, right? This is like close. Here, we're just trying to get the offer accepted, right? So this is leverage and this is time. Here we don't have much leverage, right? So one of the mistakes people do is they misuse the leverage in the beginning, and they say, hey, I'm gonna write you an offer for $450, you're asking $500,000. I want the roof replaced, I want new appliances, and I want the exterior repainted. And the seller's gonna do one of these because you have no leverage. But here, right, close to the end of your inspection time frame, 2 weeks in, the seller's probably moving, right? They've got movers scheduled. Maybe they've got an accepted offer on their replacement property, and now they have much more leverage. So at this point, we get the offer accepted. So we never negotiate repairs with an offer. That's always a losing proposition, because the seller at this point hasn't started mentally moving yet, and their motivation to do anything is going to be lower, right? Let's just talk about price here. This is all we do here, is we just talk about price. And then here, the buyer has the most leverage the day before close. Seller, unless they haven't agreed to occupy after close, has probably moved out of the house. Right now they're making a mortgage payment and maybe rent, or they're occupying the next house that they were purchasing early, or they're going to do a simultaneous close and they're gonna buy the next house the same day that their house closes. And if the buyer says, you know what, I want an extra 5,000 bucks because I effing feel like it. This is called Genghis Khan. This is a negotiation tactic. Right before close, you make an ask. And you threaten, if you don't do what I want you to, we'll kill the deal. I'll terminate, you can fight me over my $1,000 earnest money. Okay, so this is maximum leverage here. That makes sense? Seller's gone through the process, we negotiated repairs, and the buyer starts to get cold feet. Seller's like, crap, okay, we go back on market. I go back 45 days in time. I lose the house I'm about to buy. I've got to unpack all my shit. I have 2 living expenses, rent and mortgage, property taxes, insurance, maintenance on 2 properties. So maybe they would take $5,000 here just to get the deal done, and they'll be pissed off about it and think the buyer is this, that, and the other, but the buyer's just maximizing their leverage here. And then guess how much leverage the buyer has the moment it closes? A goose egg, right? So you go from maximum and it drops. Basically a vertical line. So right here was the time for us to agree to some sort of thing, whether it was a lender, whether it was the buyer, right? So maybe we had agreed that back here that the fridge was included in the sale, and you do your walkthrough and there's no fridge. The seller will get you the fridge back. Right here, they will tell you to kick rocks right here, right? So that's where your leverage dies. And so when you're too laissez-faire here, when you have all the power that you need to get things done, then you pay for it dearly. So always extend and be a little bitchy right here if something's not right, because the second it closes, it's game over. Now you have to sue them. First you have to go to mediation, and then you have to go to binding arbitration, and that could be a year. And it's gonna be thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Mediators are attorneys and judges. Arbitrators are typically a panel of attorneys, right? All these people, $300, $400, $500, $600 an hour. So now your $2,000 fridge costs you $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 in a year to get back. The seller wins at that point, or the person that took the thing or left the house dirty or whatever. And then the real estate agent ends up getting the brain damage from it, right? You help your people buy a house. The house sucks when they move in. It's not clean like they agreed to. And guess who's paying for the cleaner? It ain't the seller. It ain't the buyer. It ends up being the real estate agent somehow. Or you just say, sorry, and then never talk to you again, and those clients hate you and leave you a bad review. That all gets really convoluted really fast, all because someone was not doing their job. They're trying to be cool. So being Mr. or Mrs. Cool isn't always the move. Now there's times for that, right? Like, hey, I got it. Yeah, home warranty, whatever. You know, a couple $100, we can make something happen. But these bigger ticket items, you've got to make sure you understand how leverage works in a transaction. Does that make sense?